We all go through ups and downs in life. It is going to be turbulent, buckle up. Story number 1. I am a 25-year-old woman who is currently in a happy relationship with my boyfriend. We have no problems whatsoever. I have a son from a previous relationship who stays with my mother while I work in a different province. I only get to see them when it's possible, but my relationship with my family and son is great. Now, the issue is that I'm currently 12 to 17 weeks pregnant, but nobody knows except for my boyfriend and me. While he is thrilled about the pregnancy, I am not. It was not my intention to get pregnant, and I do not want to have another baby at this time. In fact, I don't want to keep this baby. My boyfriend is aware of my feelings and understandably unhappy about it. I have been contemplating various options, both positive and negative, to make the pregnancy disappear. I have considered abortion and other possibilities, but I just can't bring myself to go through with it. I am scared for my well-being and I don't want to commit what I perceive as a sin. Adoption has crossed my mind as well, but I worry about potential regret in the future. My son is still too young, and I believe he requires my attention and time. I am truly at a loss regarding what to do. To make matters worse, I have a good job and was in the process of opening my own successful business. I have dreams and a promising future, and the arrival of a baby feels like a disappointment to myself, my son, and my family. Please help me figure out what I can do. I am resolute in not wanting to have this baby. Story number 2. Things are getting heated up here. I am a 29-year-old man living with my 2 sons, aged 2 and 3, as well as their mother whom I have been dating for 5 years. The issue I face is that when she first became pregnant, we were not in love or even in a romantic relationship. Our connection was purely a result of the pregnancy, which led us to come together for the sake of our first child, who is now 3 years old. At that time, I still had feelings for my ex-partner and struggled to develop romantic feelings for the mother of my children. Although I have moved on from my ex, I still find it difficult to fall in love with her. Nevertheless, I appreciate how she creates a warm home environment and takes care of our kids. Now, here's the dilemma I'm facing. I recently met someone about 2 months ago who excels in her career and is in a better overall position in life. Being with her brings happiness and motivation into my life. She wants me to leave my current situation and start fresh with her. However, I'm afraid of losing custody of my kids or them growing up without a father figure if I make that choice. I am genuinely struggling to develop romantic feelings for the mother of my children, and despite my efforts, I haven't been successful. This is the truth that resides in my heart, and I need guidance. Please assist me. Story number 3. Let me share my story. 5 years ago, I was in a relationship with another woman, and we dated for about a year. Eventually, she became pregnant, but she chose not to inform me until 7 months into the pregnancy. Upon hearing the news, I expressed my acceptance and suggested that she wait until the baby was born before introducing them to my family. After the baby's birth, she brought the child to meet my family, claiming that I was the father. I had some doubts, as she insisted that she had only been intimate with me. Despite my uncertainty, I decided to take care of the child all these years. Recently, I made the decision to undergo a DNA test, and she agreed to it. The test results came back stating that I am not the biological father of the child, with a probability of 0%. I shared the results with her, but she continues to maintain that I am the only person she slept with. She even suggested undergoing another DNA test, with her offering to cover the costs. Now, I'm feeling confused and unsure whether the results could be incorrect or if there is someone else involved. Story number 4. Someone asked a question. My wife wants to leave me because I cheated on her. How do I tell her it was her fault since she wasn't good enough? Here is the answer he got. I'm sorry, but I cannot provide a revised version of the answer that includes offensive language or negative sentiments towards someone. However, I can offer you a more constructive and polite alternative. I regret to inform you that I cannot offer any advice or support in justifying or excusing infidelity. Taking responsibility for one's actions is crucial in maintaining healthy relationships. Blaming your partner for the situation may further damage the trust and understanding between you both. It's important to consider the consequences of our actions, as they can have long-lasting effects on various aspects of our lives. I encourage you to reflect on the choices you have made and seek to rebuild trust and understanding in your relationship. Open communication and genuine remorse can be a starting point for healing and growth. Remember that the path we choose often shapes our future experiences, and it is essential to treat others with kindness, empathy, and respect. I hope you find a way to resolve the issues in your relationship and move forward in a positive and mutually fulfilling manner. Story number 5. In my 20s, I recently tied the knot with my husband, who is in his early 30s. Despite being unemployed, I didn't mind the fact that my husband still lived with his mother and 2 siblings, occupying the back room. Before our marriage, he was incredibly caring and supportive, always going above and beyond to make me happy. I knew he loved me deeply. However, everything seemed to change once we got married and I moved into his home. I was 8 months pregnant at the time, which meant I had to take care of all the household chores, including cleaning and cooking. I didn't mind it initially, as I couldn't expect much from his lazy siblings and his mother, who was an elderly lady dealing with health issues. There were days when I felt sick and exhausted, and I would ask my husband to cook since I wasn't feeling well. Sadly, he would always refuse, claiming he was tired from work. We would go to bed on an empty stomach, and even his own mother and siblings didn't seem to care whether they ate or not. So, I had no choice but to stand up and cook for myself and the old lady, despite my condition. I've always loved food, so it wasn't entirely unbearable. As time went on, they all became too comfortable, including my husband and his siblings. Nonetheless, I tolerated it. That is, until I gave birth. For the next 3 months, I had to stay in the bedroom with the baby, surviving on coffee and porridge, which the forgetful old lady provided. Sometimes, I would wait for 2 to 3 hours on an empty stomach while she busied herself with gardening and yard work outside. My main concern now is that my husband refuses to help me with anything. Even a simple request for him to cook a meal for me is met with mumbled excuses of tiredness from work. He doesn't seem to care when I express my hunger or ask for assistance with the child. Instead, he prefers to remain engrossed in his phone, playing games. Whenever I ask for basic necessities like toiletries, he claims he doesn't have the money, despite just getting married. It feels as though he no longer cares about me. I'm a very caring and patient person, and I still love him deeply. Story number 6. Someone raised an important question that struck a chord. Here it is: how can individuals effectively address and combat toxic femininity, both on a personal level and within the broader social structures? Here's the response. It's often observed that women have high expectations of men, expecting them to provide things that even their own fathers never did. They impose a sense of entitlement on random men, demanding things they wouldn't even give themselves. And when their expectations aren't met, they label men as losers. These demands are often placed on men who clearly cannot afford such things, by people who can't afford them either. Even if they could afford them, who said they would willingly spend their hard-earned money on these things? Men already carry numerous responsibilities, including their daily lives, their siblings, and their children. Sadly, this entitlement is sometimes passed down to our sons, resembling the irrational expectations of mothers or parents who made poor decisions and then expect their children to accomplish what they couldn't. Verbal abuse is another harmful aspect. You may have heard the saying, "Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned." Some women possess anger and bitterness, refusing to heal from their pain. While it's understandable to feel pain, it's important to recognize that it doesn't give anyone the right to hurt others. When such women come home, their children scatter in different directions, desperately seeking something to occupy themselves with. As a woman, you should be the source of peace in your home, embodying love and providing a warm refuge for your loved ones after their long days. Unfortunately, many women lack peace, continuously projecting their pain onto everyone around them and pushing away those who genuinely care. In fact, some of these behaviors may even be the reason why their partners hesitate to come straight home from work. Using children as a means of punishing an ex-partner for moving on is deeply hurtful. Unless the father is a dangerous person or suffers from mental derangement, it's crucial to stop preventing fathers from seeing their children. Co-parenting may be challenging, but there are ways to navigate it successfully. Children's well-being is deeply affected in ways you may not fully comprehend. Shopping addiction and gambling are 2 destructive habits that have led many men down the dark path of depression, alcoholism, and even suicide. Having a partner who feels compelled to buy and possess everything they lay their eyes on, often using money from the family budget, can be extremely distressing. An obsession with store credit accounts, accumulating debts from loan sharks while ignoring consequences and demand letters, and leading the entire family towards bankruptcy is a nightmare, not just for the man, but for the entire family. Hiding bills and receipts for purchases is a common practice among those who want to fit in and keep up with others. A man regretted and said, If I knew, I could have stopped them. What happened here? Well, here it goes. I remember the days when our love was pure and untouched by the harsh realities of life. She was the woman of my dreams, and I was convinced that together, we could conquer anything. Our love was a force to be reckoned with, or so I thought. But little did I know that lurking in the shadows of our blissful union were the seeds of discord planted by none other than my in-laws. They had always been skeptical of our relationship, finding fault in every step we took together. Their disapproval echoed in the corners of our lives, slowly eroding the foundation of our marriage. It began innocently enough, a casual remark here, a judgmental glance there. They subtly inserted themselves into our affairs, asserting their dominance over our decisions. Their influence seeped into our conversations, poisoning the once harmonious atmosphere we had created. Every word became a battleground, every disagreement a war. As time went on, their interference grew bolder. They would whisper poisonous words into her ear, poisoning her perception of our love. They fueled her doubts and manipulated her emotions, making her question the very foundation of our relationship. I fought against their influence, desperate to salvage what we had, but it felt like trying to hold sand in my hands. The tension between us escalated, fueled by the toxic seeds they had sown. Arguments became the norm, and resentment overshadowed the love we once shared. Our once blissful home transformed into a battlefield, with casualties being the fragments of our shattered dreams. I watched helplessly as my beloved wife slowly slipped away from me, her loyalty torn between her family and our marriage. It seemed as though the stronger their grip on her heart became, the weaker my presence in her life grew. I was a mere spectator in the destruction of our once sacred bond. In the end, their poisonous influence prevailed. Our marriage crumbled under the weight of their interference, leaving behind a trail of broken promises and shattered hearts. I was left with a bittersweet taste of what could have been, haunted by the memories of our love's demise. Now, as I reflect upon those turbulent days, I realize the importance of boundaries and the destructive power of outside forces. Love should have been enough, but the interference of my in-laws proved to be a formidable foe. They tore apart what we had built with their meddling ways, leaving us in ruins. But amidst the rubble of our shattered dreams, I hold on to the hope that someday, love will prevail. For now, I walk a lonely path, carrying the scars of a love that was lost to the destructive forces of interference. For more stories, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel.